Welcome everyone. We're going to start by doing contour line. The first step is to work on blind contour line. You can start off with 2 pieces of paper and a pen. I would get a few more pieces because we're going to add more to this than what I initially planned. But just get a couple of pieces of copy paper, newsprint, any kind of paper you've got. You need a ballpoint pen. You can use a Sharpie or felt tip pen also. Any kind of a pen, just so that you don't erase. We're going to do contour line, and that is one long continuous broken line. Unbroken line means that you do not pick up your pen or your pencil. This is something where we're going to get out of our comfort zone on drawing and erasing. Blind, it means not looking at your drawing. You're not going to cover your eyes, you're going to cover your drawing. The contour line, it still has the essence or the feel of the real thing, but it's going to look a lot different. What I'm trying to do is we're trying to train our eyes to see what we're looking at, really see, not what our memory has or what a symbol looks like. So what I'm going to do is I want to make sure that you understand what this means. I'm going to ask that you think about a little ant crawling along the edges of your hand, because your hand is a great subject. It's right there. It's got all these different edges, little wrinkles. You've got your cuticle and your fingernail. You've got the edge of your thumb with a little bit of creases. But the little ant cannot jump. It can't jump across and over. It's not a grasshopper, it's an ant. So if it has to get anywhere, it has to crawl along. And if it's forgotten something, it has to go back in reverse or turn around and walk the opposite direction. So it can't jump around. It's going to go explore some different areas of your finger. You can go ahead and explore a little bit. It's not going to explore every little wrinkle in your hand, just a few, and it's going to go back and around. You're not going to pick up, we're not going to jump around, we're just going to go along the edges. I've got a little more wrinkles than probably you do, but everybody has a cuticle, has the outside edge of their fingernail. If you forget something, go back, just go in reverse, but don't jump around. Say, for example, you pick up your pencil, then go right back to where you started. Okay, so what I need you to do first is get a piece of paper, and you can use a pencil or your pen, and poke a hole through it, just like that. So just about the hole that's just as big enough to fit your pen underneath, like this. So you're going to put it through like that. And you're going to rest the paper on top of your hand. This is going to help keep you from peeking at your drawing. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and set this up, making sure that I've got the pen on the right edge. No peeking. Now don't lift your pen up off the paper. And I know you're going to be tempted to peek, but don't peek, okay? So I'm setting it up to where I'm looking at my hand as I'm drawing. And I have to think about that little edge of the little ant crawling along my hand. And I'm going to start off at my thumb, and I'm thinking about it going around and going around the cuticle and going around the edge of the nail. And if I forget something, I go back in reverse. And I have to concentrate here. This is the part where we're really just looking at our hand like we've never looked at our hand before, even though we've lived with this hand forever. We're looking at our hand in a different way. I'm thinking about where my ant is along there, going around the edges. We're looking at it like a scientist. We're looking at all the different wrinkles and the different shapes. We're thinking about what does it look like, and I'm just going to follow along. And I'm not going to think about it. Sometimes I end up with 6 fingers, sometimes 4 if I get distracted. So you want to be really focused here. And don't worry about what you're drawing, because really this is to help you see better. Oh wow, look at that. Okay, so that looks pretty wild. It's going to look pretty distorted. It's going to look really weird. It has like a wacky look to it. But this is what I want from you, something like this. You can see that I didn't lift my pencil off the paper, my pen off the paper at all. And I really didn't even look at it to fix it. But I wanted to make sure I get all the details on there. So you don't want to do something like this. I don't want to see you outlining your hand. I don't want to see these things where you've lifted your pen off the paper and made these little symbols and fixing it. You don't want to fix it at all. You want to do what I asked you to. So you want to make sure that you think about making sure that the little ant crawls along the edges of your hand, and don't lift up your pen to fix things. I can see it, and that's not what we want. We don't want a symbol of a hand. We want a hand that's distorted and doesn't look real. It doesn't, but it's got that kind of look that sort of looks real, more real than the symbol of a hand. We know how to do this, and we're not doing this. We're doing a contour line that's one long, continuous, unbroken line. Okay. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to do the other side of our hand. So we're going to set this up. Here's where you need another piece of paper. I said 2 pieces of paper, but you need a little more than that. We're going to set up the pen where the paper is covering up your drawing. I don't want you to peek. I know you're tempted to. Believe me, you've got to keep that covered up, because it's okay. I mean, we don't care. It's supposed to look wacky and weird and not perfect. And we're thinking about that ant crawling along. So I checked to make sure my pen was at the edge of the paper. And now I'm looking at my other part of the hand, the palm of my hand. And as I'm looking at all those wrinkles, which could really freak me out, but I'm only going to pick the ones that the ant wants to explore. And I'm going to go up and around, and I'm going to think about all those creases. Now, I don't have to worry about fingernails here, because we're on the other side of our hand. I just need to make sure I get those rounded tops up there where my tips of my fingers are, and then I've got those wrinkles. And I might get mixed up. I hope I end up with 4 fingers and a thumb, but I'm not sure. We'll see. All right, so as I'm doing this and I'm working around and around, I'm thinking, okay, my little ant wants to go explore this wrinkle, but it doesn't want to explore that one. Or, oops, I forgot something. I've got to go in reverse and go back and around. And I'm not going to worry about all those lines in the palm of my hand. There's actually palm readers that will look at your hand to determine, when you're going to get married and how many kids. But we don't have to worry about that. Okay, wow. Now that does look pretty darn wacky and weird and has a real distorted look to it. But you can see that I did not lift my pen off the paper, and I have an A+++, because the more wacky it is, the more it looks like a blind contour hand drawing. This is what I'm looking for. And this is what you're looking for. We can see that there was a little bit of a distraction, but it looks great. Now, what we want to do, we want to make sure that our hand looks like a hand, even though it's a weird looking hand. We've got the idea that it's a hand, and that we're looking at the palm of the hand, because we don't see any fingernails. We've got those wrinkles that are inside the palm, and that's what we're looking for. Okay, so as I've said, it looks like a hand, a weird looking hand, but definitely a hand. Now, what we've got to do next is something where we practice looking. This is a really good way, and a lot of artists do blind contour line drawings, especially for something that's new to them, a new subject, so that they can really explore what it looks like, not just what they remember. So this is really good observation. Now we're going to switch over to a contour line drawing. So yay, we don't have to do blind anymore. Now we can look at our drawing. So I'm going to go ahead and set this up, but remember, we're still going to do the little ant crawling along the edges of your hand. But we are going to look at our drawing as well as our hand. So your eyes should be flipping back and forth and back and forth. You're not going to lift your pen up off the paper. You're still going to keep it down so there's one long, continuous, unbroken line. That's what you have to remember. So it's no problem looking. You just have to make sure that you think that you can't jump around and fix things. The only way if you forget something is to go in reverse and go back around. So I'm looking to see what I want to start. Let's go start with the back of the hand first, because that's what we did first. And I'm still thinking of that little ant crawling along the edge there. And I'm going and thinking about what I can see. So when I'm doing this, my actual eyes are looking from one to the other. I like to put my hand really close to my drawing. A lot of times when I'm doing this, kids go they put the hand way far away from them, but you should have it up close. Just get it right up there on the paper so you don't have to turn your head too much. I'm still really got to focus on making one long continuous unbroken line. And as I'm going, I go pretty slow, and I'm thinking about, okay, there's the top of the nail. Oh, I got to go around there and backtrack. And I might, oops, I got distracted by something my dog did. Okay, so let's go I got to go right back there, and I've got to move that around. Good, and then I'm going to go back around the wrinkle there. Now, I probably have a little more wrinkles than you, but everybody has wrinkles where their fingers bend. So you want to put those in there, but you don't have to put every single one. My goodness, that would take us forever. We don't want to worry about that. We just want to have a few just to get the feel that this is a hand and where the joints are in the hand. And we don't have to draw every single one because we, as human beings, know what a hand really looks like. So when we see part of that, we know that it's a hand. All right, I'm going to go around there for the cuticle area and the edge there. And I'm looking at, gosh, I got my hand right up against my drawing of a hand, which helps so I don't have to jump around. And as I'm going here, I'm thinking, all right, I'm at my little finger now. I've got to go around that edge. I've gotten pretty good about that. A little bit of wrinkle there and a little bit of that wrinkle there. And then I'm going to go down to the crease where the hand meets there, and then all the way down and off the page. Oh, there's a wrinkle on my wrist. Oh, okay, that looks pretty good. So let's compare. Wow, there's a big difference. That definitely is the blind one, and this is just a regular contour line. When you look at the two, you can see the difference, but that contour lined hand that you did where you were looking, it really has a little bit of a distortion to it. It's certainly not a photographic drawing of it. All right, so we're going to go ahead now and do the palm of our hand, and we're going to do the same type of thing where we are going around the edges and thinking about the creases on the inside part of the hand. And as I'm doing this, I'm realizing that I'm probably not going to have enough room for my thumb, but let's get the fingers drawn at least. And as I'm going around, I'm thinking, okay, I've got to go around those creases. I don't have to worry about every single one. And if you lose count, that's okay. If you miss one, it's okay. We're just practicing today. We're just trying to sharpen our observation skills. This is basically what contour line drawing does, is it really helps sharpen those up and makes you draw better because you see it as an artist. You see things as an artist. Okay, I'm getting in there to those palm wrinkles. Then I'm going, I don't have room for my thumb, so I'm going to have to just draw a part of the thumb here. So I'm just going to kind of go back and around and think about what that edge would be along there and bring that around and bring that side where that palm meets the wrist in there. Okay, so now we can take a look. We'll compare those two. Wow, there's a big difference there too, isn't there? But if you look at it, you pretty much know what side of the hand you're looking at. Okay, now I want you to do one more. This is the one where you get to think about different hand positions. So I automatically think of an A-OK. You can do that. You can do a thumbs up, but do the thumbs up with the fingers showing that way. You can spread your fingers out and kind of maybe look like you're holding something, but you want to have the fingers. You don't want to have it where you're looking at the back of your hand where there's just a few knuckles. You want something that's got some really good lines and wrinkles in them. You can put your fingers any way you want. You can do the hook 'em horns. You can do the hang 10. You can point to somebody. You can do it so that it looks like a symbol for scissors or the Star Trek symbol. Or you can kind of grip it like, you can do that too. I think I'll do that one, the one. So what I want to do is I'm going to go ahead and set this up. Now this gets a little tricky, but you've had a lot of practice. So when you're doing this, you just don't say to yourself, oh Lordy, this looks so hard. What you say to yourself, okay, I'm going to be a little ant and I'm going to crawl along the edge here and crawling along the edge. And I'm just thinking shapes. I'm thinking edges. That's real important, edges. I'm thinking about what am I seeing? I'm not thinking, oh my Lord, I've got to do this really difficult position in the hand, I'm just thinking, what is it that I see? If I make a mistake, I go back over it. That double line really has a nice look to it, in my opinion. It has it just gives it life. It doesn't look so static and boring anyway. So if you put some double lines in there, I think it sort of jazzes up your drawing anyway and gives it some extra flair to it. All right, up here now I'm to this other knuckle here. And I see that that finger's a little over it, which I made a little bump, but we'll see if I go back to it or not. I'm not going to worry about shadows. I'm just thinking edges. That's real important. Just edges there. Okay, so I've got this part of the finger. So I'm going to try and get that to where it looks kind of realistic there as best I can. Now I'm going to go around to the thumb. And I'm going to kind of move my hand around a little bit so I have a little more room. But I have it pretty close to my drawing. Okay, that looks okay. But I'm just going to say to myself, just keep going. Don't panic and don't worry about it being perfect. This is just practice. We practice to get better, just like anything else. And sometimes we learn from our oops, and sometimes we go, man, that looked really good. Now, when I'm looking at this, I'm noticing something. Oh my goodness, I don't have that other side of my finger there. So let's see if I can backtrack all the way up and connect it so that I can make that other part there, make it a little bit better. There we go. That looks better. Okay, now I'm going to backtrack back down. I'm going to add another line that I can see there and draw the bottom of the palm of my hand to where then we've got the wrist there. All right, pretty good. Okay, so now we've done the 5th drawing. So remember what I need you to do. I'm going to go ahead and put that up there. I like to put all of the definitions and remembering what you need to do for contour line. That it's one long, continuous, unbroken line that can look distorted and misshapen and weird and wacky. But I would like you to do 2 blind contour line drawings, and the front and the back of your hand, just like I did, and 2 that you're actually looking at it. So remember, the blind is when you cover up your drawing. Don't cover your eyes up. Cover your drawing up, and then you're going to do 2 of the contour drawings that I did, front and back. You may have already done this. Maybe you drew along with me. That's fine, and you paused. That'd be perfect. And then you do the other one. You can do the one I did, or maybe you'd like to try a different hand position, like a thumbs up, or pointing, or holding something like another pencil. It's your choice. You should have 5 drawings in all. And if you'll go ahead and take photos of those and post that on Schoology, that would be wonderful. I want you to try and practice it today. I think you'll be very happy. This might take you a few days, and that's fine, however you want to do it. These assignments are due on Thursday. And you take care and